Hello, and welcome to the Barbie Sorority Sunday debate. For today's topic, the debate is resolved. Pluto is a planet. Heading the debate today are Annette and Judy. Annette on the right, with the blonde hair, is the moderator. Judy is the debate parliamentarian. The debate parliamentarian's role is to make sure that everyone follows the process of the debate, and we're following the rules of the old filing line debate that was done by William F. Buckley. Each side is allowed to make an opening statement based on the coin toss. Um, Basically, the side represented by Lara and Jane will make the opening statement. Lara on the left, Jane on the right. Lara starting first. Pluto is not a planet because basically, based on discoveries made in the Kuiper Belt with Voyager and other probes, if we were to declare Pluto as a planet, then our solar system would consist of over 100 planets. Yes, I agree with Lara in that based on new scientific evidence, that then we'd have to reclassify our solar system as having 112 planets, based upon what exoplanets that have been discovered in the Kuiper zone. So therefore, Pluto is declassified as a planet and reclassified as a planetoid, with Neptune being the furthest planet. Now we'll head over to Barbie and Diana. Barbie would like to start with the blonde hair and the white dress. Well, I respectfully disagree because based upon Kepler's law of motion, Pluto moves equal areas in equal times, and also based upon Halley's law of comets and planets. Even with new scientific evidence and prior to new scientific evidence, Pluto is not an ice ball. It actually has valleys, rivers, and mountains based on new scientific evidence. I agreed with Barbie. I agree with that. I'd like to add that basically, although the rivers in oceans on Pluto are extremely cold because they are liquid methane, the mountains do reach about 12,000 feet high to 31,000 feet high, similar to the Himalayas, and there are rivers, and this has been discovered by recent probes. Okay, well, both sides have presented. Well, that now, and that at the bond, both sides have presented their points of view, and we can be ready to debate. Oh, Judy wishes to say something. Yes. Well, so far the debate has been going good, but please remember the rules. We state facts, and if you do state opinion, do state it is your opinion, and also to keep the conversation polite. So based on the coin toss, Lara and Jane, you can go first. Okay, Jane, you wish to speak first. Okay. Well, for many years, I accepted the fact that Pluto was considered a planet, but even in science, based upon new evidence, we have to organize our hypothesis because even in the book The Nature of Scientific Revolution by Koons, we have to make sure we don't fall into the fallacy of old scientists who hang on to old theories because of various reasons or various goals and ambitions, and that so we have to modify it by our opinions. Now, Barbie and Laura, did you have a follow-up question? Yes. Okay, Diane, why don't you go ahead? Well, Jane, based on what you mentioned, though, I agree with Koons's book, Nature of Scientific Revolutions. Also, I agree that we have to modify our theories, but I do think the way they modified the theory about reducing Pluto from a planet to a planetoid is still is holding on to old dogma because basically, that means that they're classifying all other exoplanets discovered having the same features of Pluto. And so far, it hasn't been verified that the exoplanets discovered they haven't been able to get the detail that they have exactly the same physical features as Pluto. So therefore, I would suggest that we should reclassify Pluto as a planet. Thank you both for your follow up. Now Barbie would like to offer on the facts that Pluto is a planet. Well, Pluto is a planet because basically, um, just as Kepler's laws, it moves equal areas and equal times, and according to Halley's laws, Pluto is not an iceberg, is not an ice crystal flowing through space as Halley's comet. In addition, new probes have proven that Pluto does have planetary characteristics, as mountains, rivers, valleys, and is not as smooth as a cue ball in pool. While the exoplanets, although we can exist and see that they're there, there's not enough detail to prove that basically that the exoplanets have the same type of physical characteristics on surface characteristics as Pluto. So therefore, Pluto does represent a significant difference to the exoplanets. So Pluto should be reconsidered as a planet. Um, Now, from the opposing side, do you have a follow up question? Okay, Lara. Yes. Well, although I agree that basically with your argument and your logic, I do feel though that basically there's a quandary. Assuming basically that we do this, based on our current uh, administrative practice of classifying planets, even if we were to apply the logic as you discussed, we'd still run into the problem of having over 100 planets classified in the solar system, most of them exoplanets, which would make difficult for space policy and space exploration. Um, so I just wonder basically, um, regarding this, how would we solve this? Barbie, would you like to answer that question? I'd rather have Diana answer that because she's more experienced in this in policy and executive matters in this. Okay, Diane. Um, Judy, is that okay if Barbie defers her time to Diana? Yes, that's okay. Okay, well, Diana, why don't you proceed? Well, I can understand the issues of administration as when I worked as an executive for a tech firm in a medical research, also civilian medical researcher, um, medical contractor. This can make it difficult. However, I do feel we should resolve this issue as scientists, apolitically and a-religiously, because the thing is we first have to develop a scientific basis first before basically we have administrators or politicians come on board, because sometimes it can be a little bit hard to convince them to come on board. Diana, I understand your sentiment, but please, we got to make sure that we watch our personal opinions. So you, but I'll accept it, meaning that basically sometimes it does take a while to have people in the legislative environment understand what is discussed. Is that what you were trying to say? Yes, and thank you for clarifying. Sometimes I do get a little emotional. Well, now back to the side that wishes Pluto not be classified a planet. Would you like to offer a final comment as to this? Yes, and I would like to have Jane offer the final comment. The issue of why Pluto should not be considered a planet is because even though many in the science field did support Pluto being a planet and then reducing to a planetoid, but the argument still holds about the gray zone in terms of scientific application and classification. So it's similar to what existed many years ago in the biological classification system, because certain organisms basically um, basically were classified either as plant, animal, or vegetable. And what happened was others who didn't. So it was a quandary as to what classification did they come into. So later, the biological classification system was expanded to five. But right now, the scientific classification system still has that gray zone, and until it is expanded, we feel, and I feel, that basically Pluto should be considered a planetoid. I agree with Jane in that if we are going to reconsider Pluto, then we have to reevaluate our classification system. We have to reevaluate the same way that the biological botanical classification system was reevaluated in the 70s. Add two other layers to describe this. Well, now let us proceed over to Barbie and Diana to give their concluding comments. Well, and also, well, Barbie is going to speak first, with Diana speaking second. Well, the thing is, yes, we need to have the classification in place. However, um, we should even temporarily classify Pluto as a planet until we make an update to the classification system through a conference. And most of the time, our conferences are in the spring or in the summer, and right now it is a little bit past the deadline to introduce a new section. We could do it temporarily, but until we can actually have a formal conference on this, we should temporarily classify Pluto as a planet. I agree with Barbie, and what I like to say though is even those that basically feel that we should go strictly by the science. We also have to have a classification system because um, the thing is we don't want to get into scientific catfights, and we don't want to get into younger scientists fighting older scientists or ostracating older scientists, and that it is important that basically we keep it scientific and we keep discussion going. Um, for all sides, I'd like to thank you for following the parliamentary rules for this debate, and also for making it that basically people can understand this debate and speaking in a manner that that viewers can understand, rather than going into what some may call scientific gobbledygook. And for us in the Barbie story, we'd like to thank you for watching the debate. I, as your moderator, Annette, are pleased, and also like to ask you for your feedback. So just remember, feedback on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest. And And for all of us at the Barbie sorority, we'd like to thank you to listening to this firing line style debate. Resolve Pluto is a planet. Thanks again for watching, and let us know what you think.